Hey, remember they pretended that they cared about you, which is why they mandated people to get vaccines? It wasn't so they could increase the profits of the people who own them. It was because they really cared about you and your health. But then they don't give you health care. So I'm getting mixed messages. Turns out they did a study. If we would have had Medicare for all, it would have saved 338,000 people from COVID deaths. That's a new study. So that's over 250,000 people, eh? So 1 million people, somewhere around 1 million people are dead. Oh, and by the way, this is from this study. Universal healthcare as pandemic preparedness, the lives and costs that could have been saved during the COVID-19 pandemic. Universal single-payer healthcare, which the study calls fundamental to pandemic preparedness. Oh, you didn't write any jokes for this, right?
No.
Preparedness could have prevented 338,594 COVID-19 deaths in the United States from the beginning of the public health emergency to mid-March 2022. Researchers estimate that if everyone in the country was provided with comprehensive care for free at the point of service, 131,438 people who died from COVID-19 could have been spared in 2020 alone. And roughly 80,000 people with other diseases could have been saved that same year. More than 207,000 additional COVID-19 deaths could have been averted in 2021 and the first 3 months of this year. Why don't they do it? Why doesn't Fauci ever mention this? Like, hey, if you really want to save lives, you should give health care to everyone free at the point of use. And then delivery, because that would save hundreds of thousands of lives, more than anything I could tell you to do. Why don't they say that? Because they're all criminals bought by the people they're supposed to be regulating. Dr. Fauci is a criminal. And if I'm lying, take this video down. They're not going to take this video down because Dr. Fauci is a criminal. With Medicare for all, the United States also could have avoided $105.6 billion in healthcare expenses associated. So it would save us $105 billion. And you know how much money? We know what we could do with that savings? We could end homelessness 3 or 4 times over. Everybody could go to college. Stuff like that. Because people without health insurance typically do not have the primary care physician, they are more likely to suffer from preventable diseases such as type 2 diabetes, and they also tend to wait longer to see a doctor when they fall ill. These two factors already contribute to higher mortality rates in non-pandemic years, and they compound the impacts of COVID-19. Comorbidities exacerbate the risk of the disease, and waiting to seek care increases the likelihood of transmission to other people. They estimate that a single-payer healthcare system would have generated a net savings of $459 billion in 2020 alone. And it would yield $438 billion in non-pandemic year thanks to more efficient investment in preventative care, reduced administrative costs, and an increased negotiating power for pharmaceuticals and technology. That's a lot of savings.
Yeah, but then pharmaceuticals and technology would lose that money.
An estimated 44% of United States adults, that's roughly 112 million people, continue to struggle to pay for health care. I think that number is low.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know anybody who doesn't struggle. I'll take that back. I know very few people who don't struggle or worry about health care costs. So there you go. There's more proof that your government is actually lying to you still. They don't give a shit about your health, because if they did, they'd give you health care. But what they're giving to you is mandated COVID relief, which is not relief, which is just profit. So, and still the comedy community has not one goddamn critique of Fauci, of Biden's handling of COVID, of the lies we were told by Big Pharma about COVID, about the lies the government has told us, about the lies that surrounding the lockdown, the lies surrounding everything. Not even one joke yet about ivermectin from anybody except Jimmy Dore. You were lied to about ivermectin. Why? Because they were afraid ivermectin might be able to treat COVID, and then they wouldn't be able to mandate vaccines because there was a treatment. And you can't get an emergency authorization if there's a treatment. So that's why they had to make you think that a WHO essential medicine and a Nobel Prize winning human medicine was somehow some form of horse poison. And how'd they do it? Well, they have enough money. $46 billion in 1 year is enough money to buy all the media in the United States and every politician. And they did it. That's how they got you to think ivermectin was some form of horse poison instead of what it really is, a miracle drug that have saved millions, if not billions of lives already. And you're a chump, and you believed it, and you repeated it. I see comedians still repeating that. Even after Sanjay Gupta got humiliated and exposed by Joe Rogan, a pothead comedian who announces men fighting in cages, was able to dismantle the doctor from CNN who was lying about COVID and ivermectin.
Yeah, but I don't like Joe Rogan because he's far right. And I just hope the heroes of the Azov Battalion can come when they're done cleaning up Russia. Come over here.
That's right. So now you know the rest of the story. The oligarchy, which runs this government, because it's completely corporate captured, doesn't give a shit about you, as George Carlin said 15 years ago. They don't give a shit about you. And if you think that their COVID policy and their mandates were to help you, you're a chump and a sucker. Like you probably always been. It's just amazing. I have comedian friends, completely cynical. They still don't think Elvis is dead and we haven't landed on the moon, but they don't question anything surrounding COVID. They know the government is completely captured by criminal corporations. They know Big Pharma is the biggest criminal corporations in the country. And they know the media is completely bought. You put them all together, though, and they make beautiful babies. Beautiful babies that are not to be questioned. And if you question them, you're a white supremacist Trumper.
Yeah. Well,
now let's go send some money to the Nazis in Ukraine.
That's the single focus of every single issue is,
are you a
Trump's
Trumper or
come
not?
back. Yeah. If you don't accept every nonsense thing from your team.
If you don't go along with this, Trump. Hey, we're doing stand-up dates. Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Chicago, Sacramento, and then San Diego, where I'm taping my new special. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows. We're coming to your town, maybe.